Hey, welcome everyone to another episode of Beyond the Case, which is a podcast for global leaders from Harvard Business School's OPM community who join in a personal capacity. My guest today is one of my batchmates from OPM 67, Antonio Liberal. How are you, Antonio?
I'm fine. You, Sohin?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Antonio, do you want to introduce yourself and your business to the listeners?
Yeah, sure. I'm a Portuguese pharmacist. I'm 45. I'm father of three lovely kids. My business is retail pharmacy. Retail pharmacies in Southern Europe and mostly in Portugal and Spain and Italy. They have a different model than from the ones we know from the Anglo-Saxonic countries. From the Anglo-Saxonic countries, they are more like supermarkets and then have a corner with prescription medicines. In Portuguese pharmacies and Spanish and some other countries, they are more professional in terms of what they deliver in terms of health. So we don't sell candies; we just sell good things for our health, and we are the first line of healthcare system. So whenever a person has a problem, because most of the physicians they are not available or just available upon request. Our pharmacies have average 5 pharmacists that they study for 6 years, so they are the first line. And my business is that we had an online business which we sold last year and completely against the trend, but I think makes me comfortable when we are against the trends because I believe the opportunities are there. And for now, we are expanding our pharmacies in terms of number and in terms of size they have. We have high street pharmacies. They are high. Each pharmacy receives an average of 600, 700 persons a day. So we like small ones, but heavy ones, busy ones.
And your pharmacies were started by your grandfather. Can you
Yeah.
tell us about that origin story and how the ownership translated to you eventually?
And my grandfather, he was a true entrepreneur. He had several businesses from perfume shops to pharmacies. On 1942, during Second World War, which in Portugal was not, Portugal did not participate as an active country on World War, but he opened this pharmacy. That was the first pharmacy of the which we own for today. And then my mother, she was a pharmacist. She continued his legacy of his father, and then me and my brothers we continued the business. Unfortunately, my mother and my father they passed away a little bit earlier than expected and what we would like. I was 18. My older brother, he was 21, and we kept the legacy. We didn't have that much choose. I think difficult solutions, difficult choices are the ones where you can choose. On these ones, we didn't have a lot to choose and we just moved on. I kept my graduation. I didn't lose a year on my graduation. I didn't miss any subject, any discipline, and we just move on. And now we are 5 pharmacies and we want to expand the business. Meanwhile, I made my MBA when I 1 year after I had my graduation, and on 2011 I made my first HBS short program, which I enjoyed a lot. Otherwise, I wouldn't make the OPM and three little more short programs on HBS.
Great. So, when you were growing up, did you always know that this wasn't just a family story, that the business would eventually pass down to you?
Yes, sort of. I think you breathe the same air on your family. I could do anything else. I wasn't pressed by my parents, but it's like a son of a soccer player become a soccer player also. So it's sort of natural. I had marks to be a medicine student. I think it was sort of natural for me to become a pharmacist. I could do any other thing, but I think it was a natural solution, a natural path I followed through.
And now you've been running these pharmacies for 3 decades, correct?
Yeah, for 27.
Wow. So, what has been some of the What have been some of the evolution stories that you could share with us, over the last 3 decades? Have you seen the industry evolve, the businesses scale, or maybe struggle?
I think in 27 years, many things happen. I could name some of them. I think for an entrepreneur, I think the worst part, let's make it as it is, I think it's the beginning. I think when you run a small company, I think that's a small nightmare because you don't have a structured team. All the simple problems come after you. And now I say our sales are 20-fold what they were when feel much more gratitude for my work. I feel more passionate because we have teams, we have knowledge inside the team. So the first pinpoint I would put, it's for the business. When they are small, they require a lot of effort, a lot of passion to overcome all those small hurdles that appear. It's not big hurdles, but they are so many, so many. Even if a toilet gets a problem, you know that there's a toilet in the pharmacy or in the company that's broken, and someone has to fix it. And I think the good part is having a team, having everything structured, and most of all, having people that know of their subjects more than you. I think that's the when you have that on your business, I think you're on the right path. If you constantly know more marketing than your marketing expert, if you know about more finance about your finance expert, if you know any other subject more than the person who's in charge, I think it's probably good for you to to rebuild your framework. And in that sense, I think it has been challenging and passionate about growing. I could name some other things. Portugal is it's in the uh, really in the outskirts of Europe. We have some problems in terms of economy. We had a bailout on 2012 or 13, and they were really hard times because at a point our prime minister told for the margins of the medicines will have a cut about 30%, and all the business have to adapt. And from my experience, turbulence is good for the ones who are with heart and soul and brains and guts in the brain. When there's something changing on your business, on entire business, on your competition, on the whole ecosystem, if you are strong, you go out stronger. So I don't feel that afraid about disruptions, about dealing a new set of cards to the players within a market, because I have the confidence that you can take good things from that and live from the new paradigm stronger than you were.
Um, Talking about ownership, are you the sole owner of the business, or are your siblings also a part of this business?
At a certain part, we sold a pharmacy because despite this it might seem like a linear path. It wasn't. On a certain part of our journey, we wanted to buy more pharmacies, and the prices were really astronomical from the business point of view. It's not about more money or less money; it's about EBITDA and what the business cost. And at a certain point, we told, so we are not able to buy a new pharmacy because the prices are really skyrocketing. Why not selling? And we did it. So we bought one pharmacy, two pharmacies, and we want to buy more pharmacies. At a certain point, we sold one. We had a good offer. Someone came to us. I don't know anyone was willing to sell his pharmacy. And we told, probably we were. Of course, there was sort of storytelling because you never know, or the other part gets a little not comfortable knowing three brothers have three pharmacies and they want to sell one of them. And at a certain point, we sold. That was actually, it was on the day before I got married. My wife got really stressed about me not feeling, not being able to appear on marriage. Of course, I appeared on our marriage, but the business or the signing of the business was made on the day before. But that was our defining moment in terms of our growth. I don't like for my personal style to sell things, but I have to recognize that selling was the beginning point of our growth, because all the crises came within 1 or 2 years, and we had a balloon full of hair. We had our financial strength really on tone for us to make our acquisitions, and most of our acquisitions was made during the bailout times here in Portugal, because the business went like this with the cuts of profit margins, and we took some advantage of it.
You are a third generation owner.
Yeah.
I'm guessing you are running the business as if it is going to pass on to the next generation. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is. I'm the only brother who has siblings,
Okay.
but of course you think about it. But even if I weren't, when you start to growing, or start to little bit become a little older, you have sort of detached vision of the ownership. That sort of might sound a little bit strange, but you start to do the right things on the right time without fearing that much when we were 20 or 30s. But of course I have the fact my daughter, my sons can continue the business, but if they don't, I don't know if I would change that much my mindset, to be honest, because we have our employees, we have our customers. I truly believe in the nobility of our mission. Of course, I'm just a pharmacist. I'm not a rocket scientist, so I don't put sugar on my profession. But what I what we say to our teams, it's our mission is really noble, and it's sort of strange because I thought that when I would be 45, 50, 55, I would sort of be not motivated for this task. And I think that's funny, because what's happening, it's really the opposite. And that makes me feel good, because I think it's the right mindset.
So, given this is a generational business, it is different from other businesses because many businesses take decisions in terms of quarters, next quarter and the quarter after that. Do you believe your decisions are more long term in terms of next decade, the decade after that, and maybe the next generation inheriting the business? Do you think you are able to take longer term decisions?
Yes, I don't have a doubt at all. Don't you forget that my suppliers are big multinational. My department, all the purchases we made in our pharmacies are my responsibility. Of course, we have a team that makes that, but I'm the ultimate responsible. So I'm very connected to the big multinational, to big corporations, to the big ones at the stock market. And it's funny because I find the style of management, despite their reliability in terms of profits and in terms of strategic thinking and a lot of stuff, but I think there's too much money left on the table. You remember our negotiation task we have, and there's so money left on the table because people don't think in long term. Our management, in that sense, is really different from those ones, because we don't have objectives. We don't have to manage the objectives. What I see is many companies here in Portugal, many companies, multinational companies that I would prefer not to name, that if they have their sales made on the 1st of December, they don't sell it anymore. That happens on companies that are on European stock markets. And that's so nonsense that on a small company like ours, that wouldn't happen for sure, because till the last minute of the first, we are happy to sell. We are happy to help the ones who enter in our pharmacies.
Amazing.
It's not amazing, so it's really normal. But I think it's that doesn't happen with the naturality and the rationality that might happen. It's not amazing. What is amazing? It's this thing not to happen.
Are there any life principles that you have come up with over the last 27 years of running this business?
Of course, there is. Of course, there are many, many. First of all, first of all, the pharmacy is one of the most regulated companies. Is about compliances, being compliant with all the regulatory agenda that we have. but we have many inspections from the health authorities, and people get nervous. And what I always tell to the teams, you don't have to be nervous because our standard is not the regulatory standard; it has to be a way above. I that would be my first one. The second one is the companies are as strong as the people that work there are strong, and in that sense, I think being stopping for 3 weeks in Boston made me think a lot about it, because on the many times when there are jobs, we just go to our computer, we don't stop, we just are formatted to make that task. And I must tell you, since I arrived from Harvard, for me, between entering a store and to sit on my desk, I think 20 minutes pass because I chat with the people and we try to develop the people as much as possible. And I think there are many other life principles, but I would think like honesty, integrity. If you have a long-term business, I think they have to be natural for you to be present. I don't like to think of them consciously, have it in permanent conscience, because I think they have to do about your education, how are you in your life, and how and how what example you want to be to your kids, and what legacy are you for your parents, because you are the living ambassadors of your parents. So in that sense, I don't like to be that I'm honest or not honest, or I think that's normal. I think the human values for a Portuguese, for an American, for a Christian, for a Muslim, for a Hindu, I think those basic principles, they are pretty transversal to all the persons, and to the workers and to the leaders.
Well said. How do you think of success today?
I think we can choose two paths, and both of them, I think they are achievable. I think the first one, not to say it's more important than the less important, it's the numbers, it's the P&L. The P&L over the time tells how good you are. Not the P&L for this year, not the P&L for the next year, the P&L for the next 5 to 10 years. They will tell you how good you are. Set up your marks when you were studying. Your marks didn't tell you how good you were at a certain subject. They didn't tell how clever you were on that discipline. It was a measure, and it's important for you to keep the metric. So P&L is a metric, and it's important metrical because it release funds for business to grow and to become stronger. The other one, I think, has to do about the people that you have the responsibility to pay the salaries, and more than the salaries, to where they have their personal and professional journey. And I think that's a responsibility, and that's a pressure we have on us as a leaders. But I also like about the US Open, the Grand Court. I don't know if you like tennis. And the US Open, the Central Court, it says pressure is a privilege. And in that sense, when a little bit more stressed on any circumstance, I think about that. And I think being stressed, having some pressure, I think it's a privilege. I think it's much more fulfilling life having pressure, having someone that's dependent on your responsibility, about your discipline, about your self respect, and about the way to respect others. And in that sense, I think knowing that someone is giving birth, or is getting a children, or getting promoted, or someone that got his graduation while he was working, I think 20 or 20 years ago, I really don't care at all about it. Now I do, but that's natural. And I think it's so the people we are that are working with us and our numbers, I think they are both important. And actually, I believe that they are not one against each other, but they are sort of catalytic one of another. Because if you have more money, you have more conditions for people to develop, and if you have more people developed, they can generate more money. So that sort of sound of like those petrol stations books, motivational ship books, but in reality, I truly believe in it. And I think I'm pretty sure that that works.
What was it like coming back to Harvard Business School for the OPM program?
It was amazing. It was amazing for two basic reasons. The first one is knowing that we will can come back for 2 years. So it's a sort of goodbye, but we'll meet again. So I think that's a special feature, I would say, of our course, to know that we can be together now. And to be honest, arriving was a little bit shocking in a sense that you spend 3 weeks with so many talented people, people that clearly are clever than you, more energetic like you. And I really don't feel like I am sort of a slow guy, but people have different paces. And being in touch with those our fellow our colleagues, I think I arrived more energetic, really. I felt I had so much to do. I felt I had to deliver so much more, but not in a pressure way, in a positive way. Coming from Harvard, it was amazing, truly amazing. The first 2 3 days it was a shock because you get the old life, but in the end is knowing you lived on a tunnel where you can see things that might happen, and we have clarity. We know what things we could do. We had a lot of things written. I had in my desk. I have my diary that's the diary we got from the HBS where we wrote all our notes from the classes, and it's been an incredible journey, and I think people notice that I'm sort of little stress guy. I like to have things in pace, and the desire to build things is not within 3 months or half a year. It's to be for the next 15 days, 1 month. Some others, of course, have a different time scope, but it was really, really nice to have come back from Harvard. And most of all, I've already booked my journey, my flight, the hotel for the arrival. So I really feel like to return to be with you and to our teachers.
Great. Were there any concepts from the OPM Unit 1 program which left a very strong impression on you?
A lot of them, a lot of them. We have stores. So Starbucks, in a sense, was, and the way they have the 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 stores organized, and the importance of the team leaders and how they manage their promotions. It was a reference for me. All my top team knows the Google Oxygen project with the principles they of leadership they got, and I'm really boring on that. So on Thursday we will have another meeting where we'll talk again about it. And we arrived in the end of the year, so it was a time of making projections. And it was people got a little astonished when we told, I want to bring numbers to the next year for sure. I have them in my mind. What we will bring is new things to change, and people got a little surprised with this approach. But it's true. What I think Das told, that growth is not a number. It's a it's a it's a group of things you achieve and change for the growth to happen. I think I would name those for sure to be the main ones, but many more. So here I have probably 50 topics that on a weekly basis I go there, and I revisit and read again, and all of them may make sense.
And you revisit that through the notes you've taken, you read through them again and again?
Yeah, they are really beside me. Of course, it says Harvard. It's good. It's stylish. Blah blah blah. but but beyond that, I read it on a weekly basis. And most of in this part of the year where we have meetings with the teams and with the people that will have meetings with his team. I revisit all those principles because I really don't want to lose. Harvard course is it's not a lot of money. It's money. So I truly believe that it's up to you, to me, to everyone, to each participant to make it cheap, or to transform a lot of money into a cheap one. And I have not a doubt on that.
Is there a book that you've read which has left a strong impression on you that you want to share with us?
A lot. I read I read a lot. The name in English, just are you okay? Let me just what's the name in English? It's from T. Marshall, Prisoners of Geography. I've read it twice.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It was the only book. I finished it and I told him I will read it again. It was really nice one. It says about the geopolitics and it's really nice. Of course, there are Homo sapiens. It's a classic one. The books from Dalai Lama on the other, on the opposite side, about I think it's not about humanism. I think it's about anthropology. I would say.
Mm,
Um, there's there are really nice books from. I think the English name is The Prince from Machiavel.
yeah.
It's a really nice one. It's not really the most actual about leading, but it's about sort of the deepest human nature. And we are when we are talking about politics, about the things we are nowadays, it makes you think. And when you are not motivated about the priest about Machiavel, and it's a really nice one.
Lastly, what advice would you give a 20-year-old Antonio if you could speak to him?
It's a difficult question. It's a difficult question because I regret a lot of things that I've done. Not a lot of things because, as you know me, I'm not really eccentric person. So, but I think the path you took is the path necessary for you to be what you are today. If you have a daughter born after September or October, you should retain it for the next year. But there are really small things, tiny things. I think everything of the journey, the good things, the bad things, they make part. So probably I wouldn't say, I just would tell, go on, go for it, believe in yourself, just be a little bit more relaxed, don't be so tense. But in a sense, tension is a sort of energy that impels you to the action. So you are what you are. So I changed a lot of things. I did a lot of things that were not correct. Probably one thing I would change, to name one, is to be a little bit more patient with the others. People sometimes they take their time, and it's okay for us to take a little more time. And I think these last 5 years, the results have been amazing. Believing on the people, give them second, third opportunity. Of course, there's an elasticity on what people wanted, what the company wants. But probably I would say to be more, a little bit more when I was compared when I was 20 to be a little bit softer on myself, on the other people. Because if you have the right mindset, sometimes we have to take a little bit more patience.
Great. Thank you. This has been wonderful. Your responses have been very thorough and detailed. I appreciate that. I'm sure the listeners will find a lot of value, Antonio. And you recently fell off the motorbike and you had an accident. So I hope you feel better soon and recover
Yeah, yeah.
fast.
I'm a pharmacist, so medicines won't miss at all. But in this case, not medicines. It's a little bit of time also. But thank you also for your work, and thank you for these conversations, and congratulations for the other interviews. Most some of them I've seen already. There are so many that we cannot have. I didn't saw them all, but it's really a pleasure for me to be here with you. And congratulations for your initiative, that it's really, really distinctive and really good for all of us because we are 160 and many of us we still don't know each other. And on November we can for sure know better, all of us, due to your initiative. So for that, thank you so much.
Yeah, I appreciate those kind words. Thank you.